To Prime Business. My name is James Chen with to our very first story now. Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia, says Ghana's decision to seek arbitration at the International Tribunal for Law of the Sea over its protracted maritime boundary dispute with Togo will not undermine investor confidence in the country's oil sector. Speaking to Joy Business, he described the move as a necessary step after 8 years of unsuccessful negotiations, stressing the need for finality on the matter.
For now, I think that the ESOS has not much proven reserves until further explorations are done. So there's not much data to support it. But with Westwards, I think that we'll continue to attract the needed investment if we're able to review our Petroleum Acts, especially the Exploratory Act, we're able to review it to attract new investment. I think that will surely help. So I believe that this may not have any impact in the short term with respect to our ability to attract investment. But in the medium term, if we're able to bring finality to it, there will be more investment into our oil exploration.
Now, Parliament has ratified a memorandum of understanding between government, GNPC and other contractor parties to extend the West Cape 3 Point and Deepwater Tunnel Petroleum Agreement respectively from 2034 and 2036 to 31st December 2026. This agreement includes a commitment of $2 billion of additional investment into the two contract areas, which will include the drilling of at least 10 and up to 20 new wells with the development of necessary subsea infrastructure to support continued oil and gas production in the Jubilee and Ten fields. Technical advisor to the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, has been explaining what this means to Ghana's upstream petroleum sector.
What the extension means is that it brings a lot of certainty within the upstream space in terms of the investment drive. Remember, not too long ago, our partners, the Jubilee partners, GNPC with the Jubilee partners, they have promised actually to invest closer to $2 billion within our production portfolio. And what that will mean is that this $2 billion is not sitting down as hard cash for them to go and pick it up and come and invest. They also have to go and see lenders. And so I see that this kind of extension will give a lot of momentum and credibility to whatever lending procedure that they want to undertake to unlock this $2 billion investment within the upstream. And so if we manage to get the investment done and done well as planned, which I think the Jubilee and the Jubilee partners are on course to doing that, we're going to have a lot of improvement within the upstream. We should be able to arrest the decline or minimize the rate at which the decline is happening within the upstream if you fall through with this kind of investment.
Now, away from the petroleum sector, following the passage of the new VAT Act, the Ghana Revenue Authority has announced plans to implement the Physical and Electronic Devices Act later this year. GRA Commissioner General Anthony Kwesi Sapon said the new law will enable the installation of physical devices at retail outlets to monitor transactions, enhance compliance, and boost VAT collection across the country. Atumaika is the Chief Executive of Maverick Research Ghana.
It definitely helps in terms of data for them to use for management reporting and other KPIs that really is hard to come by in the current environment. So that definitely helps in that context. However, I would also say that there's definitely how do we know from either under reporting or any trend standpoint, right? Because if I compare the just released November 2025 retail sales data from JRA, it showed a 10% contraction in retail sales, right? But if I look at all other sources, it shows overall FMCG retail increasing, double digit, at least from an inflationary, from a value standpoint.
Right.
We at Maverick, we see that in the 20%, right, versus 2024. So there's that aspect of it that would need to be reconciled and really understand how to triangulate the GRI data with other independent third-party measurement tool as well. But on a net basis, it really presents and it's a first step in actually getting really good management data for manufacturers and brand owners in Ghana.
Now, the Chief Executive Officer of MTN Group, Ralph Miputa, says the company is focused on accelerating infrastructure investment in Ghana to enhance customer experience following MTN Ghana's strong performance within the group in 2025.
The financial results of MTN Ghana will be released to the market, so I can't talk about them now. What I can say is the following. We have what we call the $1 Million Challenge, which is an internal competition of what the best operations are doing. MTN Ghana was the best operation across MTN markets in 2025.
Yep.
So much commendation to Stephen Blewett and his team for their achievements. I think the second proof point about Ghana's importance is we are going to accelerate capital investment within the business. So $1.1 billion equivalent of capital investment into building the infrastructure, and that's over a 3-year period. We did the last $1 billion over 5 years. So the acceleration is giving you confidence that it is a material opco.
Okay.
End of last year, we've had 2 major subsidiaries within the context of the MTN Group across all markets, serving the 300 million plus customers. And that was South Africa and Nigeria. This year, we're adding Ghana as the 3rd major subsidiaries for the whole group, purely as a function of its the way it has performed and the potential that we see going forward of this operation. And it is a significant achievement. And I want to thank the teams here and also commend the board who guide and govern this company, that this is now a major subsidiary of the group.
Now, President John Dramani Mahama stated that Ghana is on the right path toward industrialization and cross-border trade. He emphasized that the government is making a deliberate effort to create a conducive environment for industrial growth and enhance Ghana's competitiveness in global trade. He made these remarks at the commissioning of the B5 Plus Limited steel manufacturing plant in Prampram.
We've been engaged in fiscal reform in order to support industry and business. In the 2026 budget, we've introduced measures that directly benefit manufacturers. We abolished the COVID-19 health recovery levy. We reduced the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%. We've introduced digital VAT monitoring systems, and we're reviewing the income tax, customs, and excise regimes. As host of the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, Ghana has a responsibility to demonstrate that continental integration can deliver tangible results. Regional trade must move beyond speeches and communiques. Regional trade must translate into factories exporting to neighboring countries. And B5 Plus is a practical demonstration of that effort. Ladies and gentlemen, industrial transformation does not happen overnight. It is a process, and it requires strategic policy, a stable macroeconomy, private sector confidence, infrastructure investment, skilled labor, and regional integration. So today's commissioning signals that Ghana is moving on the right path.
Meanwhile, at the same event, Chief Executive of B5 Plus Limited, Mukesh Takwani, stated that the company is committed to partnering with government to build a self-reliant economy and support the 24-hour economy and the Big Push agenda.
B5 Plus is not waiting for the 24-hour economy. We are already operating within it. with your blessings. We stand ready to expand capacity, save millions in foreign exchange, create thousands of additional jobs, deepen local beneficiation, position Ghana as a steel and fabrication hub in West Africa, and ready to contribute momentarily to the big push agenda. We are prepared to partner government fully in building a self-reliant industrial Ghana. Ghana has the resources, Ghana has the entrepreneurs, Ghana has the industrial ambition. Under your leadership, Your Excellency, Ghana can move from being merely a mining country to becoming a mining-powered industrial nation.
You're still watching Prime Back to Prime Business. To some other stories now, and Lancaster University Ghana is ramping up efforts to nurture the next generation of innovators as it scales up its Business Cup Challenge for senior high schools. Speaking at the Business Cup Challenge, Acting Chief Executive and Provost of Lancaster University Ghana, Emmanuel Alpha, says the initiative is already producing stronger student pitches and deeper school participation, reinforcing its goal of translating youth ideas into viable enterprises. According to the Acting Chief Executive and Provost of Lancaster University Ghana, Dr. Emmanuel Alpha, the Revive Business Cup Challenge forms part of the university's broader mandate to groom future business leaders and tech innovators, with plans to expand the program and introduce seed funding for promising ideas. In an interview, he noted that the university is prioritizing experiential learning, research, and industry partnerships to ensure graduates are both employable and globally competitive.
It gets better every year. We relaunched this program 2 years ago. In the past, we were doing it, but because of COVID, we had to truncate it, and we started doing it 2 years ago, 3 years ago actually. And I think that every year there has been an improvement in terms of the quality of pitches that we get from the students, the level of participation, the commitment of the schools. We are nurturing the next level of leaders, thought leaders. We are nurturing the next level of business entrepreneurs, tech giants who will be producing all of these great inventions in the future. And it is for us a responsibility to ensure that we are stimulating that interest in this next generation of leaders, so that by the time they get into leadership roles, they have some ideas which they've conceptualized.
Head of the Department of Business Studies at Lancaster University Ghana, Dr. Gloria Sraha, says the university is moving to channel top student concept into its entrepreneurship innovation hub, where selected teams will receive support and potential investment to commercialize their ideas.
We observe very brilliant and innovative ideas, and you can see all the students who join really prepared. For Lancaster University Ghana, what we want to do now is we are going to take the 3 best winners and use them to start our entrepreneurship innovation hub in the university. We are going to nurture them and see whether we can get any investment to help them bring this idea to fruition.
Chief Executive of Port Solutions, Solomon Sedina Magbemenya, says industry participation is helping bridge the gap between academia and the corporate world, with the firm committing mentorship support for selected teams.
We identify a gap where some of the students that leave graduate school or that leave institutions are not entirely ready to fully settle into corporate. So such initiatives help them get ready. They are exposed early enough, and where there are gaps, academia and corporate are able to come together, support each other to address these gaps that would ultimately affect and impact most of our needs.
University leaders and corporate supporters say ongoing collaboration and investment in youth innovation will be key to turning student ideas into Ghana's next generation of competitive businesses. Now, the Crops Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has introduced artificial intelligence and smart technologies to move seed certification and storage from manual methods to faster, smarter, and more efficient systems. A stakeholder workshop brought together seed producers and seed regulators and policymakers to introduce these innovations and discuss their benefits to the seed sector.
Senior research scientist Dr. Hilary Mrekubote explained that the country's cold storage facilities for seeds are limited. He noted that frequent power fluctuations and high electricity costs affect seed viability, leading to germination losses of up to 60%.
At this workshop, we have seed producers and seed regulators mainly, and the idea is to introduce them to these smart technologies. We are trying to solve 2 problems. The first problem that we have is in Ghana, our cold storage for seed store are very limited. And because of power fluctuation and also the cost, it affects the germination rate of our seeds. And therefore, we sometimes can lose almost 60% of the seeds that are in the cold store. So the first technology that we are trying to, we call it a thermal block, AI controlled thermal block system. You install this system in the cold room facility, and the aim is to reduce the energy consumption by charging it at an appropriate time that you have to charge and allow your condenser to run. So ultimately what we are going to address is two. We have a stable, reliable temperature in the cold room, which ultimately will affect the germination value of your seeds in the cold room. And secondly, we know energy cost is very high. We want to reduce the energy consumptions and make the seed storage cost affordable for seed companies and producers.
Dr. Mrekubote also highlighted the smart mobile application developed locally in collaboration with the Brazilian companies. The application currently focuses on soybean and maize. Founder and Managing Director of Seed Show and SportSmart Demo Stakeholders Meeting, Luke Marrell, emphasized the economic importance of the project and improving cold storage facilities to reduce seed wastage and lower energy use.
The project really falls into two areas. The first is how do we improve cold storage facilities. So if we improve cold storage facilities, we don't have so much wastage of seeds, so that has an economic impact. We also use less energy, so we have systems now that are cleaner, greener types of technologies to provide cold storage. So that has an economic impact. The other side of it is around how we produce varieties of seeds that are more climate resistant. And we have some technology now that we can use to track the germination rates of seeds and start to understand in more detail how do we produce the best seeds, what are the best varieties.
The Ashanti Regional Director of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, David Anamba, also addressed the impact of climate change on farming. He said recent rainfall patterns have changed, with rains occurring in January and February, which is unusual and risky for farmers who plant early.
Galamsey is like a canker running through everywhere. Galamsey is a canker. So, in the first place, Galamsey is taking the land where we grow the seed. The land the arable land that we are having, Galamsey is what? Encroaching into that. That is one major challenge. Climate change. After climate change, we are getting rains in January and February. This is unusual. It's unusual. So, we are talking about resilience. Resilience. Resilience means be able to adapt to the climate variability. So the resilience is what we are now looking at. How are we going to advise so we can get a seed that can what? Be resilient to the drought? Because as I'm talking to you now, it's likely the seed, farmers should not rush to plant now. Farmers should not rush to plant now. Because if you plant now, along the line we have drought. So we are trying to, so when you even plant and there's a drought, the seed should what? That resistance and resilience should what? That's the kind of seed variety we are excluding. So farmers can have resilient varieties so that they can withstand the climate change that we're experiencing that's challenging farmers in the industry.
JoyNews, Josephine Sego.
The Executive Secretary of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, Samuel Amagaibo, has dismissed concerns that the proposed rent bill could discourage investment in Ghana's real estate sector. Speaking on the ongoing rent debate, Mr. Amagaibo insisted that the reforms should not be seen as a setback for investors, but rather a sign of maturing and well-regulated property market.
For me, it shouldn't change anything. It shouldn't change anything. People who want to invest there cannot tell me that because they will not be allowed to collect so much rent advance and so they won't go into it. That will be unbusinesslike. In business, you look at your environment, you look at the laws that are in the business, and then you play your game according to the law. You cannot come and change the law just to suit your peculiar interests, but study what the regulations are, study what is in your environment, study what is available, and then you strategize and move on. I think it shouldn't be a deterrent at all. It should rather be a motivation. At least Ghana is becoming serious. Ghana wants to go, now wants to be serious with enforcing what they enact, and I think all of us must support this and let it go.
Now, the Supreme Court of the United States of America has today ruled that President Donald Trump violated federal law when he unilaterally imposed sweeping tariffs across the globe, striking laws for the White House on an issue that has been central to the president's foreign policy and economic agenda. The decision is arguably the most important loss the second Trump administration has sustained at the conservative Supreme Court, which last year repeatedly sided with the president in a series of emergency rulings on immigration, the firing of the leaders of independent agencies, and deep cut to government spending. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the majority opinion, and the court agreed 6-3 that the tariffs exceeded the law. The court, however, did not say what should happen to the more than $130 billion in tariffs that have already been collected. Now, let's do some commodity and currency update. And that's some commodity and currency update there, ending the prime business with me, James Ishen. For more stories, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Before I go, let me leave you with some international update.